Yeah, we suck right now. The culture is actually like, I'm just praying for the Lord to deliver me from the pick sixes.
As the new NFL season officially begins with the start of free agency, there are unfortunately some things we must go over. New rules. As with most things the league has done, it's allegedly meant to improve the game, but some of them have led to more controversy than not. One of these changes that totally won't cause this is the banning of the hip drop tackle. Any infraction called by officials will now be 15 yards and an automatic first down. Another judgment call penalty in a league plagued by them. Oh, wonderful. The replay booth can now review instances of roughing the passer and intentional grounding. But knowing how well the pass interference reviews went, my hopes aren't high. What could be ironically useful are the new kickoff rules. They had to do something about them. The kickoff had been relegated to nothing but touchbacks for the most part. If you watch the XFL this past year, there'll be a slightly modified version of them. The kicker kicks off at his 35-yard line, and the kickoff special teams line up at the opposing 40. All but two players on the return team line up at the 35-yard line, not to move until the ball is received by a returner. The goal for the kicking team is to hit it in the landing zone, between the 20 and the goal line. If the ball lands or goes out of the end zone for a touchback, the ball is spotted at the 30-yard line. If it goes out of bounds, it's spotted at the 40 like it was before. Onside kicks also must be declared, thus eliminating surprise onside kicks. We'll definitely be complaining about these things in the future, but their newest gift to us comes with 2 games on Christmas. Wednesday football is back after a 4-year hiatus. The NBA is seething in the corner. Errors can be a disappointing thing. The Vikings have been the epitome of frustrations in the age of Kirk Cousins, unable to elevate them to the heights that they desire with a litany of issues and snake bites aplenty. He had a damn good season this past year, until the Minnesota sports curse struck yet again, and it would be the last time he'd dress in a Vikings uniform. He's departed. With what Atlanta paid him, I don't blame them for balking. The same goes for Danielle Hunter. Rumors of him leaving for years have finally been confirmed. Although signing Jonathan Grenard for the same role all but signaled the end of his time here. They made some interesting signings in addition, mainly Andrew Van Ginkel and Blake Cashman, but the real tradition is former Packers seeking revenge against their old team. Aaron Jones, you are that new man with a chip on the shoulder. Think of the magic he can make with Sam Darnold. Oh, God. In all seriousness, they're going quarterback in this draft, but what's going to be there at 11? Bo Nix? An extreme premium will have to be paid to move up into the top 5. And that doesn't mention the fate of Justin Jefferson. Is he gone or can he be extended? The end may be near. And with that, another chapter ends in the legacy of failure.
I got 3 words for you. You like that?
The Minnesota Vikings select
J.J. McCarthy,
quarterback, Michigan.
I was hoping for shenanigans with McCarthy. Trubisky-esque rise had some wondering if he would leapfrog May or even Daniels in the draft hierarchy, but things were a bit more restrained. Minnesota only had to move up 1 spot to get the guy they'd been gunning for just so the Broncos couldn't get him. I never really understood the booming stock of JJ over the past month. He was a game manager in college. It at least signifies a high floor, but his upside at the next level will be debated for ages on end. The dude does make some very tight window throws, though. And let's be real, the Vikings weren't going to trust Sam Darnold as the long-term solution. This one was a match made in heaven. Or hell, depending on outcome.
The Minnesota Vikings select Dallas Turner, linebacker, Alabama.
Turner fell like a damn stone, so it's no surprise that the Vikings jumped up to take him here. They needed an heir apparent to Danielle Hunter. Dallas will be joining forces with Jonathan Grenard to hopefully terrorize opposing offenses. I'm intrigued by the aggression being shown by Minnesota. See an opportunity and strike while the iron's hot? I was wondering what they would do with that first rounder from Houston. Now we know. Now for the overall execution, that's to be determined. Same for Justin Jefferson's future deal. It's official. God hates the Vikings. No matter the year, the talent, or the management at the helm, the only constant in Minnesota is perpetual suffering. The age of philandering with Cousins is officially ended. Now comes the time of whoring themselves out to Michigan of all places. J.J. McCarthy jumped up boards and now he's jumping up to the operating table. He's out for the year with meniscus surgery. Their answer is now Sam Darnold, who has an infinitesimal chance of finally getting his shit together. They're relying on Justin Jefferson, freshly extended and forced to become Atlas. He has to with Hawkinson coming back from surgery and Addison hobbled. If If it's from the injury or a summer DUI is up for you to decide. And if you thought the defense would be spared, I have bad news. Daniil Hunter's off to Houston, Mekhi Blackmon tore his ACL last month, and Kyrie Jackson was taken from us way too damn soon. It's a fucking shame he didn't even get the chance to prove himself. Stephon Gilmore's the emergency replacement in the secondary, but their football's Job. What the hell did Minnesota do to deserve this? Was it the love boat? Did Jerry Burns swear too much in press conferences? It's gonna be okay, though. You'll get Aaron Rodgers next season and complete the cycle. As you can tell, things are a bit less linear than in the past. New suitors are eager to stake the claim from the usual suspects. But the ones at the top will only relinquish such honor from their cold, lifeless hands. I think this year is a little of both. The NFC East has always been a conference that changes hands every year, so the Eagles will reclaim it for themselves. As for the NFC North, different story. I say Detroit reclaims it, but a few teams are hot on their tail. The NFC South, the conference we wish could be erased, goes to Atlanta simply by no Arthur Smith. And the NFC West, barring horrific injury, will be San Francisco's to lose yet again. Wild cards are a much trickier guess. Yet I believe that Green Bay, Dallas, and Chicago take them. There are more than a few teams that I consider for these three spots, so I'm not dismissing them at all. But the NFC's just weird like that. It'll probably be wonkier than I expect. Somewhere out there, Ed Donatel cackles in delight, collecting royalties from Danny Derp's big payday and the Vikings dominating. Chess, not checkers. New York's paying this man $40 million a year to throw hospital passes and godful picks in Montreal Canadiens throwback jerseys. Les Géants de New York may as well have been playing on ice since they were stumbling all game long. The Vikings minced whatever resistance they tried to put up effortlessly. Sam Darnold put on a clinic against this defense. Sam Darnold. Expectations were rock bottom for the G-men, and they somehow went lower against Minnesota. Dominated in every aspect. Brian Daboll's luster hasn't just worn off, it's rusting in real time. You miss Father Coughlin yet? I had a feeling something wasn't right the moment CMC's injury was more severe than let on. But the onus of a trap game seemed a little bit ridiculous to us all. Premonition tends to come to pass more often than not. It occurred again in Minnesota. The only explanation I have? They got cocky. With how often they repeatedly made mistakes, to the countless turnovers, to botched execution on third down, to Brock Purdy looking mortal, the Niners seem to have chinks in their armor. Valhalla opens up to reveal the future of Vikings football. Sam Darnold? Look, I know he had a good half year in Carolina in 2022, but him leading the charge against the team he rode the pine for last year? That's a special kind of revenge. It's an impressive win for a team supposedly dead to rights with all the bullshit handed during the offseason. You just hope that Justin Jefferson's okay. It seems like he avoided serious injury, but the football got straight injuries to Nick Bosa and George Kittle in return. And Deebo Samuel. Does this embarrassing loss mean anything for San Fran? Probably not. This shit happens. This was a game on drugs. Get it on Detox Stat. Think that all the adversity and heartbreak the Vikings had led them to a glorious bounty beyond human comprehension? Not just winning football games, but dominating them? Against a burgeoning juggernaut in Houston? Okay, Minnesota, you can pump the brakes on the fast start sometime. If you're not careful, you may give the fans some of this dreaded hope that kills them every December. Sam Darnold driving this bus all over the field with dazzling football and incredible feats through the air. I'm still having a hard time fathoming Darnold realizing his potential. We've strayed into the wrong timeline. Darnold as an MVP candidate? Someone create a parallel universe and go back to March to alter history. This might be the most unpredictable one. Even more so than the Texans loving yellow flags thrown at them. I've seen 3-year-olds with more discipline. Back-to-back pre-snap penalties. All of them on Laramie Tunsil? Houston didn't just lose, they got punched in the mouth repeatedly. General Mills had to go into mop-up duty, was so bad. This is why you don't get high on your own farts. Because this league is like crabs in a bucket. You try to escape, your ass is getting dragged back into the muck. Even Minnesota will someday. They're 3-0. Really? Love is back after only a few weeks?
Unit ready.
I'm surprised, but he can't say this is a critical game for the Packers. It's too bad for them that the Vikings chose to come into Lambeau and continue the world tour of destruction. Aaron Jones and Sam Darnold, the two-headed beast that will take Minnesota to tremendous heights. Darnold's apparently the best quarterback known to man. was supposed to be J.J. McCarthy's team, and it's been stolen from him temporarily. Endless fuck-ups by Green Bay, and I mean endless fuck-ups, have turned this into a Viking funeral for the Lambeau faithful. For 3 quarters. This shouldn't have been anything near a tight contest, yet the Vikings let the game come back to them. It's the closest thing to rubber banding AI I've seen in a professional football game. Kind of shit that NFL Blitz would pull back in the day. Jordan Love found mojo and got the Packers to fight back with everything they had. 22 points in the 4th to launch panic. Oh, if they only had a real kicker.
Nope.
If only Jordan Love didn't play fucking Chuck like Nick Mullins did last season. I can give the Pack credit for coming back, but what happened in the first half? Can't believe I'm critical of a 4-0 team's performance, yet here we are. The NFL's indeed a strange place. No matter what teams the NFL throw out in London, the chaps across the pond mostly get rugby scrums for matches. Obvious stereotypes galore. It's raining in England and it's raining flags in the game itself. Or is that simply Brian Flores turning Minnesota's D into an army of berserkers? Aaron Rodgers is looking like complete ass in these conditions. Be it by Rip Van Ginkel putting him to sleep or just overthrowing his receivers for interceptions. But hey, he did get 60,000 receiving yards in his career with over 50 passing attempts and no running game to speak of. The frustrating part is that the Jets defense knows Sam Darnold's weaknesses. They studied them when he was an apprentice. A potential MVP candidate was brought to heel and made mortal. The Jets' back 11 were doing a job, yet their offense still can't capitalize. Aaron only has to be league average and they make the playoffs. He can't even be that. They get all of his cancerous traits without any of the production. Even on the final drive, when the Jets team makes roughly their 16th stop of the day, Prime Rodgers would have carried this team on his back. They're praying that Aaron does the minimum, yet he's only broken. Limping down the field with a low ankle sprain and a back-breaking interception to end the game. Someone should make a vaccine for this team infection. Minnesota style hasn't been the prettiest, but they are 5-0. You gotta give that some praise. Sometimes you need a bit of luck and elbow grease from Flores. The Vikings sure haven't had a ton of it in their time. The NFC North has become a heavyweight division. Powerhouses everywhere you look with substance and flair abound. Detroit is eager to maintain their title. The Vikings wish to maintain supremacy. In the age of juggernauts, only one can stand tall. Minnesota takes a double-digit lead first, but we all know that's fleeting. Detroit's offense has found another gear. And Brian Flores can try to blitz the hell out of Jared Goff, but it isn't working. He's as efficient as ever. And him and Jameer drive the Motor City out to a sizable double-digit lead at half. An 11-point lead in the middle of the 3rd quarter after yet another elite offensive drive. Detroit seemed to be cruising to an easy win. Then came the stalling offense. Then came the field goals. And then came the fumble. Ivan paces himself to the end zone for skull chants erupting from every corner of the globe to take the lead. To go up by 3 would be ideal, but the 2-point conversion is quashed. Battles will continue on, however, in the endless grind. Minnesota has a chance to bury their rival in one swoop. They fail. Despite one of the sloppier games the Lions have played in a recent age, they still have a chance. They're driving down the field with time winding down. A win is within reach. Detroit, look to the UFL and find your true prize.
For the lead, Bates has delivered! Detroit is on top with 15 seconds left.
Jake Bates was selling bricks 10 months ago. Now he's emerging as a mainstay in the NFL. With his leg, the Lions reassert themselves as kings of the North. Not anywhere what we call pretty, but what's done is done. Sheer balls and fortitude. The Dan Campbell way. Minnesota should feel no shame, but the dream of an undefeated season is over. Dust yourselves off and you'll be fine. You're not going to revert to classic Vikings, right? They call it the Honolulu flu. Whenever a team loses to Detroit the preceding week, the Lions use a poison attack to drain them of HP in the next game. Sadly for the Vikings, they failed to pack any health items to compensate. In Ram's house, there was only a comedy of errors and frustrations. LA used a siphoning spell to get Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back. The Vikings only get defensive failures. It'd also be really damn nice if the Vikings could stop taking penalties on crucial 3rd downs. Brian Flores suddenly got cold feet against Matthew Stafford and stopped blitzing for some reason. Then what's your defense good for? Could have set up a fucking launcher in the pocket, he was so untouched. This oversight alone cost them the game. Sam Darnold's been a revelation, but he and Jefferson can't do every damn thing. Please don't tell me this is going to be the classic Minnesota starts out strong and falls apart to miss the playoffs act. Shit's stale. The Rams more than proved it as their zombie team overwhelms another victim. Yet even in this moment, ref ball takes center stage. Not only missing a blatant face mask to end the game, but saying that nobody had a clear view of it. There were several refs watching it happen, you fucking dolts! The Vikings were more than going to lose this game on their own. Christian Darrisaw had a hit taken out on him before half. They're suffering enough. Look, I don't have a problem if you fuck up, but don't play dumb and gaslight the rest of us if you do. Congrats, Zebras, the money line and the Rams covered. I'm also betting the money line on Byron Young donating a mandatory tithe to the NFL's pension funds soon. NBC flexed out Jags Eagles for this. Maybe they predicted that Joe Flacco would have been named permanent starter, thus saving us from Anthony Richardson sucking all over the place. The trade-off was everyone sucking. This was the worst display of the sport I've seen in about 3 hours. Jesus Christ himself couldn't perform a miracle on this crap. The Colts are terrible. Minnesota merely exists to fulfill a self-destructive prophecy. Seriously, it's a cavalcade of abysmal football. Will there ever be consistency for the Vikings after a strong start? Who the hell knows? Both teams running off a cliff with haste, only to respawn and jump off the cliff again with haste. Eventually, the bodies pile up and Minnesota can cross safely with back-to-back touchdown drives. Very shocking after that first half, yes. Perfect. But this game leaves me with a sense of bitter disappointment. Joe. Why, Joe? Why do you betray your 5 fans like this? He was supposed to be the most glorious meme in the world and he's arm punting it away. We wanted your elite form and you gave us nothing but elite checkdowns. Say it ain't so, Joe. Say it ain't so. Now we'll have to cringe at more 2 for 19 performances by AR5 and pretend he's developing. This is why a good chunk of you are pro-choice. So you can abort deformities like this. Minnesota won in spite of themselves, shockingly defying their horrible curse. So let's bury this travesty out back and never talk about it again. Ugh. This is professional football? Vikings, what the fuck was this? Jacksonville's a complete joke and are now without their golden goose under center. They have to rely on crashing Macs and all-white helmets. Maybe that's why Minnesota chose to step on landmines offensively. All I can rationalize is that Adam Gase is a Sam Darnold voodoo doll somewhere. Every chance to do something undone by repeated self-destruction. An impressive 10-plus minute drive and near the goal line? Throw a pick and make it all for nothing. Just a disaster of a performance only bailed out by the fact that they're playing a team with no offense at all. Mac Jones just keeps crashing. Dougie P's offense is still broken. Get a few sledgehammers and find a way to fix it, because even the Vikings can take advantage despite their offense rivaling Guernica. Minnesota, for the second week in a row, escapes their own incompetence in the most infuriating of ways thanks to a weak opponent. John Parker Romo should get the keys to the city for his one-legged heroics. The Jags? They're just terrible without Lawrence. Brian Flores' unit didn't have to break a sweat, ending the game on an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Trayvon Walker is a saboteur led by an offensive genius who's only been offensive for the last half-decade. But wait, my friends, we are too feeble-minded and dense to understand the intricacies of an offense. It's okay, Doug, you're too dense to understand red zone offense these days, so it checks out. I kind of figured this would be a more aggravatingly close game than Minnesota would like it to be. The fortunate thing is that it was much less of a heart attack in comparison to more recent weeks. To be fair, that's pretty easy to do when you're up against the tits. Oh boy, the glorified bye week led by a future Birmingham Stallion. The home team will have frustrations aplenty and they will enjoy such pain with a smile on their face. Look, the script says for Minnesota to win and they shall win with ease. It doesn't matter if a bunch of questionable calls went against the Titans, no one cares about Tennessee. Your team fucking sucks and you had 13 demerits against you. Oh no, you have a better chance of replacing Mayo Man under center. How terrible. Undone at every turn by your own hand. Or by the Zebras, either or is acceptable. Just pack it in, Titans, your season's long been over. Minnesota finally didn't bury themselves in aggravating fashion. Keep pace with the Motor City thanks to strong defensive stops and just enough offense to keep a bottom feeder at bay. At least Arnold didn't implode. I'll accept this outcome. Now keep it up against a real team. Someday classified documents will be unsealed revealing the truth about the Chicago Bears. They're an MK Ultra psyop meant to weaken and demoralize football fans into doing their will. What is that they desire? If have already been broken beyond all repair, yet the agony continues. It's not even shocked but numbing. You can't feel anything when that sense was lost generations ago. Any positive moment for this organization is buried under 10 feet of shit. Set ablaze, then buried under 20 more feet of shit. Caleb Williams finally has his abilities unlocked after getting rid of useless deadweight known as Waldron. What is their reward in a tie game? Another blocked field goal. Flashbacks of horror this early, Chicago. Haven't these fans suffered enough? Apparently not. The ineptitude of this organization must continue on for an age and then some. Take the start of the second half. Jordan Addison makes a fantastic catch down the sidelines. So Eberflus challenges the play because it was explosive? Excuse me, Matt? Explosive? How the fuck are you a head coach, dude? Matt Nagy with a defensive coat of paint. Good lord. You're lucky the defense held up to force a field goal there. The offense isn't so lucky. Can't afford another potentially blocked kick, so they'll just turn the ball over on downs. They give up fewer yards this way, it works. Know what also helps offensive failure? Not going on offense at all. How about another special teams fuck up to make things even better? Deep in Chicago territory. Touchdown Minnesota, Skull chance to a 14-point lead. Yet it's still not over. The Vikings' chance to bury their opponent is lost on a failed fourth down conversion in no man's land. Begin the rise of Caleb. A fantastic drive that flashes the potential of a brighter tomorrow for a touchdown. But the Bears' defense can't hold them further. They're defeated at many angles throughout the drive. They bend and bend, but don't break in the red zone. They force a field goal delivered through the uprights. The Vikings have an 11-point lead with less than 2 minutes left and no timeouts for Chicago. But everyone should know by now that Minnesota is also part of that MK Ultra psyop. Their defense pays tribute to Donatel and craters into a black hole. A masterful drive by Williams to not only commandeer this offense to a touchdown, but convert a two-pointer. But this has to be amplified.
Nobody's had more practice than Minnesota. And that one, ball is loose. Was it touched? The Bears say they have it. Was it touched first by Minnesota?
They recovered the onside kick. The Bears were opportunistic? Caleb threw a fucking dart to get them into field goal range? I don't know if it would be funnier for them to make the kick or for it to be blocked.
One block today. Good snap. Good hold. Good kick. Overtime. In Chicago.
They did it. They fucking did it. Peak Vikings. You had a 99.9% chance to win, and you screwed the poach like it's Josh McCown to Nate Poole. Even worse, Chicago gets ball to start and can make you instant locales for an age. Yet the Bears are into eternal agony. Finding unbelievable and otherworldly ways to lose 5 straight is outright impressive. The Hail Mary didn't just break this team. It shattered their entire id, ego, and superego. Many teams would settle for the standard blowout, but you guys go past the typical castration and crush every last bit of optimism the fan base may have had. You finally might have a quarterback beyond compare, Chicago. What was the cost of such a transaction? Everything you hold dear.
29 yards for the win. Good snap. Good hold. Good kick. And the Minnesota Vikings win it in overtime. 30-27. Knocking off the Chicago Bears.
Peak Vikings truly is a sight to behold. Shades of 2022 dancing through a barrage of raindrops. We've got some bad football taking place in Minnesota. Repeatedly failed opportunities to do anything for either side, but especially the Vikings. What the hell is happening here? I know you strike me as a team that's gonna get smacked around in the wild card, but like this? Arizona's treating them like child's play. Stretching out to a 13-point lead in the second half, it's turning into a disaster beyond comprehension. The Skull Channers want blood, particularly of whatever this offense is supposed to be. However, they fail to understand a few things. First, the Vikings are never what we call normal. Secondly, the Cardinals are mercurial as all hell, even from game to game. What that equates to is peak football. At least from a shit show point of view. Minnesota's offense will finally, and I mean finally, be able to generate significant production down the field of play. A needed touchdown. And the reward is Kyler Murray trying to make poison out of nothing. He succeeds. I think Green Bay and Detroit were cackling like hyenas 5 minutes earlier. Now, the Vikings power forward and take care of business with a field goal to get within 3. They just have to stop the Cards again and the advantage is theirs. But it's a long drive. They're near the goal line. The Cardinals can do it. But then comes a false start and intentional grounding to force a field goal. Advantage Vikings. This Cardinal defense crumbles into a paper ball. No answers for Addison or Jefferson. Today's death of the Arizona franchise is at hand. And Aaron Jones will drive the dagger as the Vikes do the unthinkable. Take the lead. Kyler doesn't have the proper loadout for this final drive, and the contest finishes with a dud. What the hell was this, Arizona? The Vikings didn't even have a running game. This was your chance to keep up in the NFC West, and you blew it. Minnesota dodges every single collapsing boulder above them and stands tall at 10-2. It's an insanely suspect 10-2, but all you have to do is make the dance to have a chance. Now about managing to play a full 60 minutes. It's that time of the year again, and the playoffs start to peek into the picture, and we discuss the scenarios at hand. The NFC's a bit tighter. The Motor City currently leads the pack, but Philly's hot on their tail. The division ranks are pretty safe otherwise. Seattle and Atlanta hold claim to some very weak conferences this year. That means Minnesota and Green Bay have the potential to feast if the cards fall right for them. Washington got off a cold streak and comfortably hold the final seed in the meantime. At 6-6, the Bucks, Cardinals, and Rams still have a shot, especially in their divisions. Meanwhile, San Francisco, Dallas, and New Orleans are clinging on for dear life. And I mean it. There's been a lot of disappointment for teams this season, but there's still a chance they remembered the rules.
Don't get eliminated!
Kirk Cousins returns to the land that made him Herschel Walker without giving up draft picks. Oh, how the crowd loves him in this performance. I'm not being ironic, they loved him in ways he didn't expect. There's a reason why many in the football world didn't shed tears when they let him go. Sam Darnold's performance is an intriguing side effect of such a decision. Part of me wonders if he bribed the Falcons secondary to take a dive. Good God, this defense is atrocious. What the hell is D. Alford doing? That long touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson? That's shit that gets you benched in high school. Well, that's not to say that Darnold wasn't dominant. 5 touchdowns and just under 350 yards passing more than proved that. The same can't be said for Kirko. The chains now bind him into terrible play. In this 4-game stretch of fail, when the Falcons have absolutely needed him, he's thrown for no touchdowns and 8 picks. The worst of his career, and his future legacy when we're old and gray. Almost as if you inexplicably drafted a quarterback 8th overall for this scenario, but no, Cousins will still be starting. Any other chance at coming back will be undone by a kickoff return fumble. The Vikings not dancing through raindrops. They obliterated these fools and leave Detroit with little room for error. Making me eat my words from last week. Well done. 1 month left. Get your tickets to the postseason ready now or be left out in the cold. We know the drill by now. The NFC's road is still undecided. Detroit stays ahead with a crucial win over Green Bay, but Philly and Minnesota are still hot on their tail. Thanks to Atlanta's catastrophic implosion, Tampa Bay has reasserted itself for the NFC South lead. The Seahawks still remain on top of the NFC West, but things could be getting shaky there with a loss on Thursday. A bye week for Washington maintains their 7th seed, yet rivals remain. The Rams and Niners want in. There's a chance the Falcons could get their shit together. Arizona could make miracles happen. Probably not, but you aren't out of the dance until you hear the dreaded words told to a few teams already. You know them by heart.
Don't get eliminated!
This game was over after the first drive. The moment Chicago called a halfback toss on 4th down at their own 30 sealed their fate. Minnesota and their uncanny all-white unis made unbelievably easy work embalming this long-dead corpse of a franchise. Broken by a Hail Mary, that play made them regress into a vegetative state. No control over any of their bodily functions. The Vikings simply put them in a harness and made them walk naked on all 4s across the stadium grounds. As Sam Darnold continues to revive from the dead, you simply hope that the Bears don't ruin another prospect. Caleb is stagnating with the lack of proper structure and coaching. He's the NFL's answer to Skibbity Toilet, trying to run around aimlessly as if he's playing Madden and heaving prayers against Pac-12 defenses. Doesn't work like that here, man. In between this and his O-line getting him killed, the entire operation is in complete disarray. A season of hype and promise swept away yet again. Vikings, well done, and not just on the win. I didn't give them much of a chance this year. That nightmare of an offseason was all but impossible to recover from, but they did it. Not only tied for the NFC North lead and the #1 seed, but earning a golden ticket in the process. Most impressive. 3 games remain. This week was critical in deciphering the playoff formulas, but it doesn't mean that we're anywhere close to a solution. The #1 seed in the NFC is now a 3-way tie. The Lions still have control, but the Eagles and Vikings are hot on their tail and coming fast. Philly can also claim the NFC East with a win or Washington loss, but the Eagles aren't going to implode, right? The NFC North is a mosh pit, made even more so by the attrition on Detroit. Minnesota or Green Bay could easily take it, but the NFC South is Tampa's to lose. Hopefully they won't choke it away like Atlanta did. The NFC West is between Seattle and the Rams, with the Cards and Niners on life support. This division probably gets settled with a Week 18 showdown. The wild cards are all but set and can be officially claimed if Green Bay wins and Washington wins and gets help. The NFC especially is going to be a ride moving forward. Get ready. These words are going to come in handy.
Don't get eliminated!
Everything has to be proven today. One team needs to keep pace in a breakneck division. The other needs to hold off hordes of zombies breaking down the doors of their NFC West lead. Even in the home of the 12s, Minnesota will unleash everything that makes them a true contender. I hear every time Sam Darnold throws a good pass, Adam Gase loses his mind just a little bit more. Perhaps Seahawks fans are also losing their mind. After several weeks of Charbonnet unleashing a strong rushing attack, and you don't use him? Hey, Nine's back, sure, but they ran Julian Love earlier than Charbonnet. Their offense is a healthy dose of Geno and more Geno, which is enough to make it a close contest. Yet it feels like Seattle isn't playing to full potential. And you can't do that against these Vikings. Sure, the Seahawks have the lead in the middle of the fourth because they managed to run the ball for once. Also, thank you very much, Geno Smith, but Seattle's caving again. A sack undone by a defensive face mask. God damn it. Here comes Sam Darnold with the punishment.
Off play action. Stepping up. Launching downfield. And it is caught! Twisting, turning, touchdown, Jefferson! Minnesota's back in front!
Jesus, Sam, there's no need to be that deadly on one leg. That bomb pretty much won them the game. At that point, Brian Flores threw the damn house at Geno and they couldn't recover. A missed 60-yard kick out of desperation and a Geno pick in desperation. Just make Kevin O'Connell coach of the year. Minnesota's fighting through everything thrown at them and now has a chance at the number 1 seed in Week 18. Unbelievable. And a testament to resilience in the face of fear itself. They could have broken but refused and are being rewarded. But Seattle might have lost a chance in January with this one. It's still a possibility, but the Rams have strength of victory all but in hand. It's going to be a challenge moving forward. Better hope the Cardinals want to play spoiler against them next week. The time has come to crunch. We're nearing the finish line. And there's still plenty of positions at the round table to play for. The NFC East is still in play after Philly's shocking upset at the hands of commies, but they aren't going to blow this, right? But the NFC North and number 1 seed are intertwined. Lions and Vikings battling it out in the Great War of Life. Take a guess who plays one another in Week 18. This is where both are probably going to be decided. A curveball's been thrown into the NFC South. Tampa's loss and Atlanta's win make it all but a coin flip. But the Falcons have tiebreakers, so the Bucs are going to need help. LA now has firm control over the NFC West, especially since they have tiebreaker. They're going to need to lose twice and the Seahawks win twice for Seattle to make it. They do play in Week 18, though. Washington's pretty much got the last NFC wildcard spot, so the options are dwindling. Don't be left out in the cold, NFL world, lest you suffer the greatest humiliation.
Don't get eliminated!
Brother against brother. The older sibling seeks continued supremacy, but the younger one has greater aspirations. They have everything to prove, and there are still doubters of their might to convert to the almighty embrace of God Emperor. Speak softly and carry a rocket arm. Destroy those in your way with incredible throws to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Hear the lamentation of Wisconsin's dairy cows. Pouncing early and a startled Green Bay has little chance to respond. Yet things are never easy in Minnesota. Remember, they're afflicted with the Seahawks curse of never being normal. The script honestly played out a lot like their first meeting. Minnesota jumps out to a strong lead, but they forget to shut the door on the way out. The Packers are slowly creeping back into the fold. And by slowly, I mean charging at them with a kitchen knife, screaming in tongues. The Vikings have no response. They can't seem to evade their maneuvers with haste. Green Bay's doing the thing again. The eternally tormenting older brother only down by 2 and all the momentum in the world. But then the God Emperor graced us with his presence and guided Minnesota to a few first downs. They were able to close the door at the very last moment. Green Bay's currently doomed to the 7th seed. The Vikings have emerged as a legitimate threat, but can they go further? Week 18 awaits. You know what's at stake there. This week settled a lot of questions, particularly with seeding in the AFC. The contestants have dwindled to a few, but there are a couple of spots up for grabs. On the other side, the NFC number 1 seed and the NFC North are tied up in a Week 18 contest. Vikings against Lions. Winner take all. Loser doomed to a wildcard spot. All or nothing, the best way to go. Meanwhile, the NFC South has been all but assured for Tampa Bay after last week's revelations. However, it's not fully secure. A loss to the Saints combined with the Falcons win gives it to Atlanta. Oh, what a time it is to be a fan. The stakes are higher than ever. And there are 3 words that echo throughout time and space.
Don't get eliminated!
One last war zone to visit. And it's the most important one of the week. The NFC North and the number 1 seed all in the balance. Winner is able to get much needed rest and recuperation. The loser has to take a trip to LA as a wild card. A bunch of Viking season ticket holders took the trip east as expert trolling. That's the only win they can boast about. When they needed him at his best, Sam Darnold saw ghosts. Easily his worst performance with the Vikes. Just missing targets and overthrowing every critical pass imaginable. It was like he was back with the Jets. Sam, you had your opportunity to maintain the starting role next year and you were stuffed by a defense full of insurance agents. Detroit's been decimated on that front and they're still dominating people. Jesus Christ! The Lions were far from perfect. Jared Goff was doing a good bit in his power to hand the game away. But the Motor City's just too strong and have too much aura to falter in a big situation. Jahmyr Gibbs is just gonna pummel these fools. It's nowhere close. Stop the damn match. Detroit's proven far superior to a team's clock striking midnight. Kings of the North and home field in the playoffs. Well done, boys. I just hope all the injuries you've suffered don't cost you a true chance in Lombardi. The final stage is set. 14 teams remain and are ready to duel to the death. Only one shall remain. And the defending back-to-back contender receives a first-round bye to recharge their mana points for more bullshit. Gunning for revenge, Buffalo has a shot, but will have to take care of business against Denver first. The Ravens receive another showing of AFC North football. The rivalry with the Steelers will add another chapter after Pittsburgh's near-traditional collapse. Liquid LA usurps the 5th seed at the last moment and will travel to Houston to face an ailing fraud squad. In the NFC, the Lions stand tall, despite missing several limbs and vital organs. Coming in second, Philadelphia controls it and faces a team that's upended such a foe last season. Be careful with Green Bay. I'd also be careful if I were the commies. Tampa Bay's been playing with fire, and in their home stadium, it could be a nightmare. Meanwhile, Minnesota's forced to head to LA for a master versus apprentice showdown. Things are hopefully going to get spicy. Remember when we figured Minnesota was going to be bad this year? You know, the nightmare of an off-season they went through, we'd understand it. Sam Darnold starting football games? What the hell are they going to do, get 14 wins? They did. Huh. Who the hell saw this coming? God Emperor's involved, the only thing we witness are spirals to Jefferson and Addison. Amazing what good structure and coaching can do, turning a team supposedly dead to rights into a true contender. And the pain doesn't stop. Comfortable on offense? Brian Flores' defense merely spams the blitz button. Leading, blitz. Trailing, blitz. In the locker room, all-out blitz. It's a very boom-bust team, mostly depending on the guy under center himself. The light's gonna be too bright. Darnold turned into a pumpkin against Detroit. And this is his audition to keep the Vikings' job. Don't blow it, Sam. If you fail, you're getting a one-way ticket to the Giants. This season has taken us from football heaven to the depths of unwatchable hell. When there's money to be made, the product does not matter. Yet the playoffs are a different beast. In the end, there can be only 2 contenders dueling for the ultimate prize. I'm not even gonna try to be optimistic it's gonna be Chiefs versus Eagles. The matchup no one outside those cities want because the football gods desire salt. They're shitposters at heart. Very predictable ones, but I respect the dedication. We all hope for something different, but we said that last year. Look what happened. Regardless, good luck to all teams involved. They're probably gonna need it. The Vikings were a boomer-bust team headed into these playoffs. Well, they busted. Or should I say Sam Darnold did. These past 2 games ran his ass right out of town. The lights were far too bright. If they're not careful, he'll fucking melt. Dude got sacked 9 times, turned the ball over twice, and most of the time he was a deer in headlights. Hell, the entire franchise made the Rams look like the Super Bowl juggernaut of years past. It was that humiliating. Minnesota was set on fire by LA, and their abilities couldn't be found on a milk carton. Worst part is, no one's gonna remember the 14 wins or overcoming a terrible offseason. will remember the absolute choke job they pulled in Week 18 in here. Another notch to an incredible legacy of failure.
Are you kidding me? The season can't end like that!